What's up guys, it's Dan, and I'm making another beam saber. Because why not? I've made 3 beam sabers. I've made 2 RX-78 beam sabers. One was for the giveaway, the other one is for me. I made a Wing Gundam beam saber. So what beam saber am I making this time? Well, it's from the same series, Gundam Wing. This is Wing Zero's beam saber. I managed to find a good screen capture of it and drew this out. It's roughly 10 inches in total length because the beam sabers in Gundam Wing were normally wielded with one hand, so I think that fits the bill. The RX-78 beam saber was longer because there were times when Amuro would hold it with 2 hands. And that one was 12 inches long. So this is roughly 12 inches, so you're able to hold a 12-inch beam saber with 2 hands, just like that. But this one is going to be 10 inches. And I'll go ahead and put a link in the description below where you can get this pattern, so you can make one yourself. Hopefully you're able to by watching this video, if I do a good enough job. I know I'm gonna need some PVC because that's what the majority of the beam saber is made from. I have my Wing beam saber here. This is Wing Gundam's beam saber. Looks sick. This is all PVC, including these parts here. This is made out of foam PVC. That's what it looks like. So, for this one, I'm going to need some pipe. So what I have here is some 1-inch Schedule 40 PVC pipe, 1-inch in there, inside diameter. It's the thick wall. And then there is this bigger part here. And for that, I'm going to use some 1.25 PVC. Let me just double check something. Okay, good. For some reason I didn't think it would fit, but it does, and that's excellent. Now it's not a tight fit, as you can see. It will fall through just like that. So I will have to secure it somehow, but I only need a little bit of this because, as you can see in the drawing, it's the top part up there, the thick part. It's not a lot. So yeah, this is what I am going to be using for that part. I think that's a brand new piece that I have not cut yet. You can see these are shorter. So let's get to cutting.
I use my beam saber pattern as a guide to measure the different parts of it. Now I'm just going off of a refined sketch that doesn't have any set measurements. It's just to give me a rough idea. Although I do know the total length of the hilt is going to be around 10 inches.
Okay, this will go like that. Now it's just shy of the top here, as you can see. And there's a little space right there. That's on purpose for how I'm going to do the detail up there. So let me go ahead and cut the rest of these bits. There's 3 more here. Alright, so I've got the pieces I need for what I'm going to get out of the 1-inch PVC. Got all this detail here. I guess I should talk about the flashlight I'm going to use. Well, it's right here. It is LED flashlight powered by a 18650 lithium-ion battery. It's rechargeable via USB-C, which is nice. And the charging port and the button, as you can see, are on the bottom. Exactly what I'm using in this beam saber, you can see. Now the beam sabers I made, I've taken the flashlights apart and used the components to however I needed. This time, well, I'm still gonna take it apart, but I'm gonna put the housing into the beam saber because I have a little bit here of the flashlight body that I cut off. This will fit right inside here. I can use the flashlight body to pretty much connect everything to what I need it to be, as you can see. So, and it fits inside the 1-inch PVC nicely. It's not tight fitting, but it's enough. And I'll glue them onto it anyway, so. But yeah, that just requires me to pop off the top of the flashlight, which is right here, and extend the LEDs from the board that's on the bottom of the flashlight all the way to the top where the LED needs to be to emit the beam, which is a polycarbonate tube with some cellophane in it, and this is the effect. Now Zero's beam saber was also green, so it will look exactly like this when it's lit up. It's just that the hilt is different. Now to house the beam blade, I have a piece of aluminum here. This is, looks like 27mm outside diameter and 25mm inside diameter. I'll put a link in the description of this and the beam blade along with the pattern, so you can make one of these yourself. It's not hard. The only thought process of making it is making actual pieces like this, which I have here. And I'm lucky to have a bandsaw and an oscillating sander to help fine-tune my pieces. Okay, so I have the line drawn around this 1-inch piece, which is the main body, to put in this detail here. I do have a scriber here that I recently purchased. This is for scribing lines into plastic models. I assume I may have to make a few passes with this. So what I've got here, I have the scriber tool on my 123 block and Allen wrench right there to give me the proper angle I need to hit this line that I want to scribe. So yeah, just gotta do what you can. PVC is a tougher material than what a model kit will be made of, so I gotta do a number of passes, but it is working and it's looking good. So there's the line that I scribed. It's quite visible, and that's exactly what I need to imitate the line on my drawing. So the next thing I want to cut is the big part here. That will be cut out of this. Let me show you something I'm doing as I'm cutting these pipes. I'm using my 1, 2, 3 blocks like so. You have one stacked vertically. I'm placing this onto it, and then what I'm doing is I'm turning this to determine if there's a gap in here. If there is, then it's uneven. If there isn't, then it's a nice square cut. And I have a fairly nice square cut, so that's good to go. So now this will go over this bit, just like that. And for now, I'll use this piece of flashlight to assemble the lower parts. And line it up with my drawing here. There you go. That wasn't too bad at all to make. But yeah, so the next bit is to fit this inside here. Take this apart. And this needs to fit inside that much, which is quite a bit. It is 2 inches inside. Wow, okay. Whew. That will require lots of grinding.
To make things easier for myself, since it would take a long time to grind out the PVC pipe to make the aluminum pipe fit in it, I'm going to use a much shorter piece. It'll require less grinding time and still be long enough to hold and support the polycarbonate tube I plan to use for the blade. I drill and tap for 2 set screws to secure the aluminum pipe to the PVC pipe. The 1 1/4 inch PVC pipe fits a bit loosely over the 1 inch pipe, so I wrap the 1 inch with some self-adhesive 1mm foam, which allows me to snug the larger pipe over it. I constantly check everything with my sketch, just to make sure everything is positioned where they need to be. And I super glue everything together.
This is what I have so far. Again, that's just washing it all out, unfortunately. You can barely see the scribe line right here, but that's there. I got this part glued on. The 1mm foam was perfect to wedge it on. And yeah, so this one is a fairly easy design beam saber, at least. I don't really have to cut any of the bevels or angles on anything really, which is nice because that takes time. So all I have left to do in terms of finishing this up ready for paint is to get the detail pieces around here, which are just triangles. I'll be using some Sintra right here, and getting the butt end built, which I actually plan on integrating the flashlight, which I have right here. So here's the flashlight that I use for my beam sabers. It's fairly small. It's about an inch, almost an inch in full diameter. Has an extending scope, and this is my favorite part. It has the power and the USB charging port right at the bottom. So the way I'm going to integrate this into the beam saber, then take it apart, which I actually already did. This is just another one that I have. So what I do is I pull the scope out, which is right here, from the body. Then I took out the battery and the lower faceplate here and soldered in some longer wires to a green LED and threw them back in there, and this is the result. You can see the batteries here. I have a longer wire here and an LED mounted there. It comes with a white LED and I want green, so I've got a pack of green chip LEDs here, Chanson brand. You can find these on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. And yeah, this should get me a green light. So my plan on assembling this, see, it fits right in there. Then I can throw the detail pieces on, like so. Then the bottom piece, like that. And this is pretty much the pommel for the beam saber, using the flashlight itself.
I pop out everything from the flashlight body before assembling everything. I can put the electronics back in once it's all painted. I actually wrapped the flashlight body with some blue painter's tape, allowing the detail pieces to fit better. I position the pommel where I want it, and drill and tap a hole for a set screw to hold it on. And now the emitter detail, which are just small triangles. I'm using 3mm foam PVC for these pieces, and just supergluing them on using some tweezers to help me position them. I had to redo some of them a few times. And here's how it looks. At this time, the entire hilt is pretty much all done.
So, as you heard in the voiceover, this is pretty much it. Got the triangles on there. There is one more piece of detail though. It's got some little pieces that go on the side. Just two. They are these pieces here, which I'm going to make out of 6mm Sintra. And then that'll be it. Then I also have to drill and tap a hole up here to hold the beam blade. Then that'll be it. It'll be ready for paint after that. Alright, so those are the last bits that I needed right here. So now, I believe this is ready for paint.
I spray on a good couple coats of gray vinyl spray paint. I went gray because I plan to airbrush it white using the gray undercoat for shading. The paint I'm using is meant for polycarbonate RC bodies, so it's a flexible paint and it's already pre-thinned to use for airbrush, although it doesn't hurt to thin it a bit more, which is what I did. It takes some coats to get a nice even layer of white on the large areas, while at the same time trying to be careful not to overcoat the whole thing, since I do want some shading in certain areas, such as the detail pieces. I also spray the polycarbonate tube green using the same type of paint, making sure it has a nice even coat and is still translucent. Everything will eventually get a coat of clear, gloss for the blade and semi-gloss for the hilt.
Alright, so I got the hilt all painted and cleared. Looks great. I really like how the shading turned out on it. So now, I gotta pop the electronics into it. And it's gonna be very, very easy. Let me show you. So here are the electronics. Very straightforward and simple. Now this stuff is ripped from one of these flashlights. And I removed this piece here that extends, which is one of these. So I can remove all the electronics in it. I desoldered the wires to the white LED in here to a green one on a LED board. So that way this will now shine green, as you can see. And the body of the flashlight, if you recall, is actually in here. I undo the screw, I pull this out. See a bit of the flashlight body in there. I utilize the flashlight so that way the bottom cover here can wedge into the body of the flashlight as it normally does. So let me pop off the bottom here, which I did have painted as well. So it'll look like that. Pretty much how the stock flashlight looks like, as you can see. It's just painted. So now I can stick all of this through here. Battery goes in. All of this just goes in like, oops, turned it on. Just goes in like that. Okay. I just need to press this piece in. There you go. That's the bottom of the beam saber, or the pommel. Got the battery right there, and the LED here, which will run through the body of the entire beam saber. I do need to attach something big and metal to this though, as a heat sink.
I use a lug nut as a heatsink for the LED and wedge it into the hilt. It wedges enough in there that it won't really move around inside.
Alright. Wing Zero's beam saber. This was a fun build. I was gonna say easy build, only because I made a number of these already, so I kind of know the routine, but still really sick. Most of the work and all that goes into the hilt because they're all different designs. Let me show you the hilt. So that's what the hilt looks like. Fairly simple. Again, it's short because it's meant for just one hand wielding. Or now it's off, so now you can actually see the detail. That's what that looks like. Just this view. Now you can see why I left this open on purpose for like some detail. Looks pretty cool. Other than the set screw sticking out right there. It's the smallest I have, so that's just how it's gonna be. I can probably grind it down, but I'll just leave it like that for now. It's fine. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's gonna be it for this one. Again, I'll link all the things that I used that you can acquire easily online in the description below. I'm just lucky that in Gundam Wing there was a moment where you saw Zero's beam saber in as much detail as they can put in it as it's flying away into space when it gets knocked out of Zero's hand. So that's how I got the design. That's gonna be it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, you know, all that stuff. And I will see you in the next one.